Hello and welcome. I'm David White, and today we're going to talk about sales techniques and systems. This is for startups and established business owners. This is a great quote from Daniel Pink. It's also the name of his book, To Sell is Human. And so Daniel Pink's books, he's got another one called Drive. Great marketing books, really motivational, full of insights, tons of research. But the point is that he's trying to make here is that everyone sells. I mean, as a child, we ask our parents for ice creams. Mummy, 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 daddy, daddy, daddy. I've got kids, they've done it. They're going to be excellent salespeople. What can I tell you, right? To sell is to human, is to be, is human. Is a skill that is learned. So, a lot of people talk about the fact that, you're born with to be a salesperson. Well, there are sales techniques. There's lots of talk about, arm bending, persuasion, and all of that. And there are certain, manipulative techniques that you can employ. I don't really focus on those. I don't believe in being manipulative. I do believe in offering people a great product, a great solution. I do believe in targeting, so focusing my efforts where my efforts are likely to be rewarded. Is that manipulative? Well, maybe I'm manipulating myself, but that's actually okay. To put myself in a position, to put you in a position where you can meet customers who want to buy, well, that's agreeable, right? Manipulation. You're manipulating yourself, okay? Magic, amazing, we like that. But unwittingly managing or manipulating others, that's something I tend to steer away from. To say something, this is your favorite color, when you've already asked someone what is their favorite color, and the answer is green, and you offer them, a green version of whatever it is that you're selling. Yeah, I mean, that is manipulative, but it's not really crafty. It's matching the need, based on the question that you've asked. And then out of all the array of options that you could have offered, pink, for instance, you offer the customer the color that they like the best, the green one. And if they say, well, yeah, it is my favorite color, but I really don't want that in green. I'd prefer that in yellow. Great, I got it in yellow too. So I don't regard that as manipulation. But anyway, the whole concept of selling is that it is human. And when you're in that process of being real with others, you don't tend to manipulate. You will negotiate, for sure. Offer and match needs, definitely. Push your best product forward, absolutely. Why wouldn't you do that? It's actually what a customer would expect, right? If they came in and said, I'm looking for a green one, and you offered them a blue one, they'd actually be disappointed. If they come in and say, I'm looking for a green one, and you give them a green one, they go, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. But maybe that's just the first question that they have. So anyway, these are the topics we're going to cover today. I'm going to kick off with some common questions. I'm going to go through the Network Navigator framework, which is something I always touch on because it just exposes more opportunities. And the 5 Ps, people, number 1, pitch, process, performance, measurement, performance, and presence. Right? Are you in the room? Right? Are you in the right room? Right? And then we're going to talk through common mistakes and some action steps that you can take to make sure you are nailing it every time. And then we're going to summarize around there and then introduce next week's topic. So that's the agenda for today. Thanks for joining me. Let's move on, starting with those questions. So what are the key components of a sales system? This is a common question that I hear a lot. What do I need in my sales system? What should my sales system have? Well, invariably, for it to be a system, it should be a set of processes that work automatically. So what kind of processes? Well, the number 1 process is lead generation. And it should be comfortable, appropriate lead generation. So some processes for lead generation is knocking on doors. I mean, it's not really very popular nowadays because you just annoy people. And how those door-to-door canvassers manage to refresh themselves and start afresh on every new door, having just had the door slammed on them all day, beats me. But there's some people that love it. Politicians seem to love it. I don't know. But there's lots of other ways of lead generation. The key one is to be where your customers are and offer those customers something that they want. Okay? That is a very natural approach. Sales processes, clearly defined steps. So if you know what the first step is, you wouldn't really go right to the end, meet someone, hey, we have never met before, but I know you want a green one, and here's the key. No, that's not how sales, that's not a sales process. That's just a way of spending a ton of money and giving away as much product as you can. People are going to be bemused. I got a green one and I got a key. Fantastic. Anyway, bye. People will just take it. Thank you. And then related to that is performance tracking. So why would we do all these things? Performance tracking, lead generation, sales processes. Because when we identify these as steps, we can actually track them, check that they occur. So part of a script process might be you have an opening line. But beyond that, a conversation, a sales conversation can go in any one of a number of directions. And you're off script. But you can still easily come up with a sale. Great. So we tend to use scripts as part of a sales process, but really as an opener. And also partly for training. We want to, ingrain or train our operators, our salespeople, whoever's front of house, to know that there are answers and to have some knowledge of what they are, usually by rehearsing them. And just understanding what the criteria is about what it is we can and cannot deliver. Okay, these are come from the definition of the process of what it is that we sell. So we sell warm food, not cold food. That's obvious. But there's some things that just aren't obvious. I once had hired a new salesperson in our business at the time, and that person was hired to sell pay-per-click. And she came back from one of her first meetings in a flurry saying customer didn't understand what pay-per-click was. And then I got a call from the customer saying, you're fired. Oh, yes? And he says, yes, your salesperson doesn't know what pay-per-click is. And it was a disappointing conversation. I thought she knew. Everything she said to me, I knew what we did. We were competently delivering it, but the front of house person just wasn't able to get it across. Now, maybe it was a personality conflict. I don't know what it was. But there was something wrong with the sales process for that to have happened, which I have to accept responsibility for. I certainly paid the price for that. I lost the account on that basis. And the client was so riled up by it, he couldn't be atoned. And maybe he was ready to move on or bring it to an end in any case. I don't know. But, it's not always a bed of roses, these things. And that's why we have sales systems and why we want to have them. And these are the key components. So how can technology, is another question I often get, enhance the sales process? Because what I just described is entirely human, isn't it? Well, yes. Except nowadays, less so. There's a lot of automation that you can employ. You can employ automation even, in a one-to-one restaurant. You can have digital menus. You can have your waiter and waitress plug your order in on an iPhone app. Okay, so it goes straight through to the kitchen. The moment the order is agreed, and it enables the operator or the server to read out what was ordered, to confirm it with the client, even take the payment. All these things streamline the repetitive tasks that happens at every single table. For example, follow-ups, scheduling, thanking, saving trouble in data entry, freeing up sales time, etc. This is what automation can do for you. And help with self-service. So when people are booking a table at your restaurant or event or location or coming to see you and they want to book a meeting, they can fill in a form with all their details. This is an automated process, example. When you've got lots and lots of data, even if you've just got a little bit of data, even on a week-by-week data, at a relatively small restaurant, you're collecting data, you can actually analyze that data, look at the data analytics, see what is selling, how many dishes, I don't know, for example, contained rice, can give you an idea about how much rice to order in for the next month or the next week. You can make data-driven decisions, and obviously the more data, the better your decision-making or the more accurate. But they just give you an idea of what's happening, which is, and it's historic, it's not necessarily going to happen exactly the way it happened last week, but it gives a certain amount of currency about the activity that occurs within your business. So this is kind of powerful. And then, of course, there's the communication tools, which is enabling ongoing communication at times automatically, like thanking guests for, turning up, reminding guests that they agreed to turn up, storing birthday information or any other date-related information, and then automatically sending out reminders or congratulations or cards. I know a restaurant that does that very powerfully and has done for years, and just continuously brings in the customers back. Hey, if it's your birthday, you get I'll buy you a free drink, something like that. So how do you design an effective sales funnel is another classic question. And the answer is, you start at the beginning, you know what the end is, and you work out what the stages are in it. And then you call that a funnel, right? And it starts with awareness to sale being made. What are the steps? Who do they expect to meet? This can also be described as mapping the customer journey. Now, the interesting thing with a map is, obviously, people can take convoluted journeys and come from different sources. And it's interesting, which is why it's worthwhile mapping. Because with the measurement that comes through, we end up being able to say to ourselves, well, this journey is much more popular than another journey. So if I was to spend money enhancing my sales funnel to try and get more customers on board, where would I, maybe it's not money, maybe it's time and effort. Maybe I just want to apply people to where the customers more frequently come in so I can handle more, right? This is where the measurement happens. But also it means that if time and effort is not necessarily money, it's about making more attractive non-static offers. So if we know people are coming through a certain channel or funnel or through a certain route, like, for instance, they're regularly recommended from a particular supplier or colleague or friend or marketplace, we can go there to that marketplace or that friend or supplier and say, hey, here's some, a grab bag, here's some useful information. Here's some gifts we'd like to give your visitors to encourage more of them to come over here. And that partner may well just do that, especially if you pay them a commission. Sometimes you don't need to pay a commission. Some people do it out of goodwill. Some people consider your service as part of the overall package that they supply to their customer. We know the good players in the market. We're proud to work with so-and-so. We're proud to work with you. You're part of our exclusive group. We all work together. We cross-fertilize business. Maybe you pass leads back to them. There's all sorts of arrangements that can occur. But when you understand the customer journey, when you map out the stages, you can create, enhanced content and make offers that are specific to that journey and measure it, measure the success. Another classic question. Okay, I get all this performance stuff, but what is it we should really be measuring? Especially in a sales funnel. And lots of people have no difficulty, in most cases, counting customers. But do we know how many leads they get? Because the difference, if you've got 100 leads and you've got 10 customers, then your conversion rate is 10%. Great. That's just a fact. So if you could have your next 100 leads come along and you've got 20 customers, well, now you've doubled your conversion rate to 20%. This is great. What did we do? Performance and measurement. So if that worked, this might work. And then you try something else. And that's how we optimize, right? So conversion rate's really worth tracking, but it doesn't stop there. The other thing is time. This is really important. A lot of businesses don't necessarily take as much account of as they should. Some sales just seem to take, we keep seeing the same people. Are they tire kickers? I mean, that's a classic phrase. Why haven't they bought yet? What's going on? Okay. The way I look at it is it's my responsibility to bring people on more quickly. And if they're hanging around for ages, it's because I haven't given them a tempting enough deal or made an offer for them to accept, to take the plunge and go ahead and do it. Okay, they got, there's something missing from the equation, which is usually to do with time. So when we know the average time it takes for a customer to buy, then anyone who's outside of that becomes an exception, becomes noticeable. And then we can say, oh, wow, look, let's say 80% of our customers occur within a week of their first touch, but 20% take a year, let's say. There's 20% business sitting right there that could be, if you applied a technique, I don't know what that technique would be, it depends on the customer group and what's going on. But how much of that 20% could you bring forward? Okay, you could give a reasonable reason for them to buy now as opposed to buy in a year's time. What's holding them back? Now, maybe it's not solvable because they have to wait till next year's budget, but how many of them are really in that camp? Is it all 20%, or is it 2% or 10% of the 20%? All right? When we get in there, we find out. This is the whole point. The next measurable we really want to look at closely, and this is so valuable, with cost per lead. When we understand our CPL, some people give it other names, but it's cost per lead, cost per customer is another way of looking at it. It can give us a clue as to how much money we might want to spend on marketing. So let's say, without any guide, we might say spending any money is too much money. We're just eroding our profits. On the other hand, if we know that if we spent, let's say, £1,000, we got 10 more customers and they're worth 10 grand to us, yeah, I can see myself spending £1,000. That's a good return on investment. And the question becomes, how much would you spend? Would you spend 5,000 to earn 10,000? Well, definitely beats a bank. Would you spend 9,000 to make 10,000? Still pretty much beats a bank. So yeah, is it really lifetime value cost per lead, compared to cost per lead, or is it this year's value? Some people limit it and say, well, the lifetime value in 12 months of an average client is X, therefore I've got Y to spend, knowing that I'll get more than just one client from the exercise, and in any case, most clients do actually last more than a year. But you're doing two things, several things, but one of the things is not only are you acquiring a client, you're stopping a client from going to a competitor. So you're gaining market share. And even if on that particular sale you spent all the profit, it still costs you nothing, right? And you've acquired that customer, you've gained that turnover, you've gained that potential volume of sales, and that may well help to reduce your costs or have a marginal effect on your overheads. And so there's still an intrinsic level of profitability. And so we come to the last one, sales velocity. Again, time-based, but again, not really considered by lots of business. How quickly do leads move through our funnel? And again, how can we shorten that journey for them, for us? Okay, because that journey costs time, and it costs money. So if we can shorten the time and we can reduce the amount spent, or maybe even we might think it's okay to spend more to reduce the time. I mean, every business is different, right? So you get to choose. But you'll never know if you're not tracking, right? Sales velocity. Again, it could be certain types of clients that are worth being concerned with. Like your really high value clients, maybe the ones taking longer. Well, you've got even more you can spend on them because you really want those. So how would you do that? I mean, You would work it out by looking at the customer needs. So this question, how can businesses automate their sales process? Well, there are systems. The classic system is CRM automation. Just about every company with more than 10 employees, I've got a stat coming up later, employs a CRM system. So, you can have 10 employees and one salesperson, or 10 employees, a sales director and a salesperson. A CRM, customer relationship management, can record not only sales information, but also lead through to production. And there are sales pipeline CRM softwares that you can buy that are kind of $25 per month per head. So we're not, considering how much most companies pay on wages, CRM systems are not wildly expensive. Biggest two kinds of pushback that you'll find with them. One is that a lot of staff, especially in sales, aren't good with their admin. They don't like them. They don't like being tracked. Tough, right? You need to measure. You need tracking. On the other hand, you discover those that do like this kind of thing. And what tends to happen is those that really buy into the concept of the CRM and start using it properly, they're the ones that really max the results. Fantastic. So again, this is, as a business owner, this is information you want to know. Who within your organization really bites down on the CRM and uses it, right? It can make a tremendous difference. Email marketing. You can only send them. Well, okay, you can do it one by hand, but nearly the whole process of email marketing, apart from the actual writing of it in the first place, is automated. Well, even with ChatGPT and things, you can give a command to ChatGPT, write an email about thanking the client for their custom, bang, it produces, dear client, we're delighted that you bought so and so. Wish you the best of luck with it, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Okay, something like that. Email marketing. Again, some customers, some people have funny ideas about email marketing. Yeah, we can't send emails, we'll upset everyone. Well, sometimes, but very rarely. Most people just, if they don't want to receive them, opt out or ignore them. They give you a Gmail address and it just stacks up in the background. Who hasn't got a Gmail address with 1 million emails unopened? I certainly have. Okay, workflow automation. This is just about managing repetitive tasks and goes back, all the way to the early production line, really. Just now there's even more tools, and we have PCs and software. You just really need to be very careful that you get an automation that is not trying to be a jack of all trades and can be totally tailored towards your business. That would be my only issue. There are unwieldy sets of software out there that just do too much when you just need a subset. And well worth spending the time trialing, testing pieces of software for the workflow automation that do the work that you need done. That's my only caveat. How can you continuously improve your sales funnel performance? Well, here's the thing. Nearly every piece of marketing software, especially email marketing software, comes with A/B testing. And turns out this is a huge requirement. Everyone says they want A/B testing. But the reality is less than 5% actually ever use A/B testing. Similarly, a feedback loop. Feedback loops exist in most business. Tell us what you thought, give us your feedback, leave a comment, all this kind of thing. And you see it on certain YouTubers. They'll say, we read every comment. And I bet you those certain YouTubers really do. But they say that because so many don't. So many businesses get feedback, don't use it. I mean, it comes in, junior operator, employee, checks it, sees it, reads it, maybe even produces a report, a summary, cut and paste the whole lot, chuck it into GPT, give me a summary, bang. But then is management really, A, looking at it, and B, if they do look at it, are they taking account of it? And if they do take account of it, do they then implement changes? So is it really a loop, or is it just a one-way input machine that is then ignored. The issue is so many times it's ignored. So I regularly find this with very large companies who run these feedback systems, and on the third or fourth call of having told them the problem, that each time at the end, the final person would say, I'm kind of saying, well, how come this wasn't dealt with before? And their answer is, well, I've dealt with it now and we're all done. Meanwhile, a ton of frustration has occurred. And it's because the feedback loop, the feedback process is there, but it's not looping. It's not actually performing. Which brings us on to performance metrics. Again, this is fantastic. Lots of companies have them built into lots of pieces of software. But the reviews rarely occur. And if the review is occurring, they're regularly not taken account of, or companies are just really slow to act. I think it's all rooted in the fact that people don't want to admit failure. So, if you bury feedback and you don't fix anything, then it appears that nothing's broken. And that is the kind of message that people want to share. Because, otherwise, why wasn't this fixed before? Bury it, right? Iterative improvements. This is cultural. It's about the way the business is run. Best example, is always Elon Musk. I mean, look how fantastic, world's richest individual or largest company, or I don't know what. Massive, though. He expects failure. And he looks for failure because he's looking to fix failure. So he celebrates it. He rewards it. Okay? He knows things are just not born perfect. Scan this if you want to get access to the live resources. There's a bunch of information related to this topic, sales, techniques and systems. But there's also... this is the thing that most seem to want, is the lessons learned that I discuss and workshops that relate to this. And these workshops are great. If you're a one-man band or if you're head of a business, you can work through the workshop process yourself individually, or you can work with your suppliers, even your customers, panel, or you can work with your staff and colleagues. This is all about, Network Navigator, which is about understanding your networks. And it helps us look outside of the box. This is the whole point of these workshop exercises. Just when you think you know it all, right? The reason I end up running these workshops with companies is because they thought they knew it all until there's a problem, right? Well, it's too late in many cases. I mean, it's not too late. In some cases, it's recoverable. But why lose the business, lose the money, when you could have undertaken one of these workshops anyway? I mean, I'm making them available free, easy to do, doesn't require any cost, a little bit of time, go through the questions, write out the answers, think about what it is that you're doing in the context of these questions. You'll end up, you're just working on your own business, okay? Now, if you need someone to facilitate this, call me up, or maybe you know someone who can help you. Certainly through this link, you can set up a one-to-one call with me, and I'll be happy to talk through any issues that you have. See what happens. It's no pressure. These things are done, this whole exercise is done to try and demonstrate what can be done to deliver value into your business. So this is my way of, putting value out there. I find that many people want to reciprocate when they discover that these suggestions and ideas actually work for them. That's why I do it. I've also put them together for a book called Sales Strategy Secrets. It's really book one of at least 4 books. And this particular book, with 81 secrets, 47 lessons, and 99 top tips, just for the first 3 videos in the series. There's going to be another book in this, another few books for each 3 of these videos. It's 3 books in one. But the next book is going to be on this one, this presentation, and the next 2. I love this quote from Zig Ziglar. Every sale has 5 basic obstacles. No need, no money, no hurry, no desire, no trust. Marketplace doesn't realize they need what we sell. Marketplace loves what we do, but don't tend to want to spend any money doing it. The marketplace, the audience knows that we have it, but isn't in a hurry to fix it as an issue. They lack desire. They don't care about the quality or something. Or the issue is trust. There's other companies bigger than ours. Why would they do business with us? These are all solvable. There's things that we can do in every single area. And they're just the big headlines. So sometimes the answer is a lot more nuanced. One thing that Brian Tracy taught me, and there he is, there we are. I was on the Brian Tracy show, I think that was 2012. Approach each customer with the idea of helping him or her solve a problem or achieve a goal, not of selling a product or service. This is where I get my experience from, working with lots of people, as you can see. And I've been invited to contribute to Sky News, LBC. I've had articles published in the Marketing Week, Telegraph, etc., just in the UK and also across the States. And you can get in contact with me on X through Tribal Ideas. And of course, on my own website, which is davidwhiteconsulting.com, you'll see a whole bunch of testimonials. I've just pulled one out there from Dan Kennedy, who says, the strategies that I reveal literally turn conventional thinking on its ear. This is exactly the kind of advice I needed when I started my career. So the whole point of this whole series here, none of this is complicated. It's all very straightforward, and I've laid it out piece by piece. All right, I'm not rushed to a shiny object and saying, this is going to solve all of your problems. I don't know what your business is. This is a kind of a one-way medium at the moment. You can make contact with me and you know what I'm about because you can see my videos. And I hope you've taken value from them and use those workshops, apply them to your business, and that helps you make more money, because obviously that's going to make your whole mindset towards me much more positive. And I know that is what I'm here to encourage. So I'm going to run through the 5 Ps: people, pitch, process, performance, and presence. It's Network Navigator. It's a way of reviewing your business through a more detailed set of glasses, I guess. But here we're just applying it to sales techniques and systems. And when it comes to people, and looking at it through sales techniques and systems, we're looking at where do our networks exist, right? Do we do any networking? What networking could we do? Customers exist in very many groups for most companies. So it's not just one set or group of customer relationships. You can probably subdivide into many smaller groups. They're not just customers, but they're customers from here, customers from there, customers from somewhere else. So you can segment them. Each segment becomes a separate network for you to address. Similarly with suppliers. Suppliers not only supply you with whatever they supply you with, they rely on you because you pay them. So you'll find that if you talk to them about expanding your business through their network, through their contacts, they'll generally be quite helpful, because the more you sell or I sell, the more they will sell, right? And some of your suppliers will be very open to the idea of introducing you to their clients or to people that they come across. There's all sorts of partnerships that can happen with them. And it's just managing another network. But again, these are segmented. Each supplier supplies you with something different. Maybe there's similar suppliers, multiple suppliers that sit in the same segment. Great. It's all about being able to reach out to clients from different angles. We talked in previous presentations about using different media, offline and online, but let's not forget people in the networks. And you're surrounded by networks. Even every single member of your team, every single customer lives in their own network. There are thousands of networks. If collectively it is expected that we will have, 200 solid relationships in our life, people that we are familiar with, and that's an average number, that's actually 200 networks that we're sitting on, because each person in your network has a different set They have multiple networks. So it's 200, 200, 200. It's thousands before you know it. So people are really important. People are the people that buy your product at the end of the day. So let's look at the pitch. The pitch. It's really simple. Bullet points here. What is your value proposition? What is your customer-centric messaging? But remember, it's going to be different for each different segment of your network. Okay? So you're going to have multiple value propositions, multiple customer-centric messaging. Customer-centric means what's in it for them. Many businesses default to this is what our product does and this is why it's good, so buy some. But if I went to you and said, hey, I understand you're looking for something to solve a problem, and I go, yeah, it's a real problem. And you go, well, this solves the problem. Do you want to try it? Yeah, I can try it. Okay, it's called the puppy dog sale. It's a technique. Customer-centric. It's about thinking about your customer, trying to help them first, not sell them your product. Now, you own that product, so you are going to take it back. And what you really want is for the customer to say, no. That worked. I want that. I love that. I want to buy it. Great. Process in sales. We've covered this. Sales, workflows, automation. These save time, but they also give you inherent quality in the process. It ensures you cover all the bases. It helps you maximize sales opportunities. Performance, what do you measure? KPIs, key performance indicators. Okay, so we went through a number of indicators earlier, what they are, and I just covered 4 off for you earlier. You may have more. Measure them, the ones that are appropriate to your business. It's not just about the measurement, that's half the equation. The performance comes when you use the measurement and you make changes, continuous improvement. I even trademarked a term called iterative innovation, right? Because it comes from this continuous improvement, this measurement and saying, you know what, that should be a little bit bigger, a bit smaller, a different color, different material, whatever it is. Tiny little things enable you to innovate, change your product, make it better, find enhancements, increase your range. You don't even have to change your product. You can just say, well, we've got this version and we've got this version. Depends on what job you want. You end up with more customers saying, you're the one for me. That's what it's all about. That's how you get sales. Presence, the final P. This is about being where your customer is. So your customers can say, I know that company. They're the ones for me. This only occurs through brand visibility. We talked about marketing earlier. Being visible to your specific audience is an absolute key technique that's been around since the beginning of commerce. Marketing strategies are all about ensuring your visibility to your audience. This is the right time and the right place. And when you get this right, you will end up reducing marketing costs or spending less than you could. And you'll increase sales because you're targeting a market that wants to buy. Okay? This is the ideal world. If you do all that tracking, anyway, this is subject to some of those resources that I talked to you about earlier, the lessons and the workshops, and you can get them here. You can scan this with your mobile phone, or you can just go to bit.ly/live resources, opt in, download the goodies, all yours, free to use. Let's talk through the main benefits of getting your sales techniques and systems nailed on. Improved customer relationships build trust and loyalty through personalized interactions. This is a big issue. 86% of buyers are more willing to pay for a great customer experience. A lot of people say to me, how do I get higher prices? Especially when they've been putting their price lower and lower, expecting to get higher volume and then discover they don't. What they get is lower margin and closer and closer to going bust, making it harder and harder for them to make a living, because you don't cut your prices and cut margin to grow a business, right? What you do is you put prices up and you grow margin to grow a business. It's not about price gouging, it's about delivering value in a value proposition to your customers, even in commodity markets. You know, insurance as a product is a commodity market. Although there are thousands of brokers out there, if not hundreds of thousands, there are only a certain number of companies that are really doing so profitably, sustainably, and that have been around a very long time. And if you look at those companies, they're not always the most price competitive. No, they don't price gouge. It's just that they build in certain services and they have a certain level of cover, and they work hard to support their clients in their claims. And so it's worth paying the extra money because you're working with a solid partner who's going to be there and support you when you need it, if you need it. That's what insurance is all about. But, you know, if you buy things on the cheap, then what tends to happen is they break often, and when they break, they really go, and they let you down, and you have to start again. And, you know, it's difficult to get compensated. Here's another benefit: increased sales efficiency. Streamlined processes allow sales teams to focus on high-value tasks and focus on high-value clients. The more we understand about where we make our money, guess what? The chances are the more we can make money. So there we go. There's a stat there on we can increase productivity by 14.5% and reduce costs by 12.2%. It's all money, but it's time too. Enhanced lead generation, more effective identification and attraction of potential customers is the key. You know, when we focus on the people that really need what you sell, you'll sell more. Here we go. Companies that excel at lead nurturing generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a third of the cost. What's the biggest complaint of most salespeople? Not enough leads. There's even a film about it. Here's another key benefit: better sales forecasting. Data-driven insights lead to more accurate sales predictions. This makes it easy from a management point of view to manage your costs and to determine the success or failure of individual members of staff or departments, and to determine whether or how much you should consider increasing or decreasing it by. Obviously, we prefer the increase, but sometimes we have to look at decrease too. Businesses that use predictive analytics for sales forecasting are 2.9 times more likely to achieve above average growth rates. Yeah. And a lot of sales forecasting is built into CRM systems. So very, very useful. Part of the automation, part of the sales system. Optimized sales funnels lead to higher conversion rates because you're just delivering more of what the customers want, right? You'll end up with more strategies to increase the likelihood of converting leads to customers because you'll be matching their needs, right? When you focus on customer experience, chances are you'll generate higher profits because, again, you start delivering and giving customers what they want. It's not necessarily, you know, all you have to do is just simply to deliver the goods. It's the whole package of everything else that you supply with it. The service contract, for example. Effective use of CRM data. I touched on this a minute ago. Leveraging this data helps tailor sales strategies and improve decision-making. Too right. So it can help increase sales by 29% and sales forecast by 42%. It's not 100%, right? But these are large positive numbers. You start stacking these positive numbers up together, and it starts like transforming a business because these are not minor increments. 29% is not a small increment. 29% is a major jump. Scalability. Here's that stat there: 91% of business with 10 or more employees now use CRM software. I know that there are a lot of businesses using CRM software, paying for license fees, but not using them. Some CRM systems appear to be very complicated, and so they don't get used. Other situations are inherited, and the new people have not been trained or don't understand or haven't had time to look. So for one reason or another, there's a lot of CRM systems out there in use that are underutilized. utilize them, and the benefit becomes scalability. And you can be more, well, as it says here, you can accommodate larger teams and run more complex processes, which increasingly, with sophisticated customers, that is exactly what you need to do. And CRM systems, sales systems can really help you to do that. But you do need people on board who are using them. So much like this performance management, you can track them, you can have the software, but if you're not actually operating the software the way it was intended, then it's just like, falling on a deaf ear. So action steps, appropriate moment for those. Assess current sales processes. Conduct a comprehensive review of your existing sales processes to identify, it's a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, threats. And what you're doing here is you're establishing a baseline for measuring the impact of new techniques and systems. I mean, sometimes we take on new challenges and change the business and go backwards, but we'd never know that. And I know we don't want to agree or accept that that is an outcome, but it does happen. But we'd never know it if we didn't actually set an initial benchmark. We must do that. Because if it does start going backwards, we want to know why, and we want to reverse it. If it goes forwards, we also want to know why, and now what we want to do is we want to amplify it. We want more. We just always do. That's the way it works. Define clear objectives. Now, we've all heard of SMART objectives. I can't leave them out. They're important. They're important because it provides clear direction and purpose for your sales team. And when they know what the objectives are, and you're all working together as a team, chances are you'll achieve them, or at least achieve some of them, which is a positive thing. Invest in training and development. I've touched on systems and processes. Your sales team need to understand what consultative selling is, solution-based selling, and they need to be able to use the technology that they've got in their hand. I mean, most of us carry around a £1,000, $1,000 phone, iPhone, or something like that. Are we using all the features and benefits of that phone? In most cases, no is the answer, but we could be and should be. We got it. We've even spent on it. So just make sure that our teams are, not only equipped, but also able, because I can only tell you I see it so much. CRM systems that are underused, feedback that delivers feedback, but no one uses it, right? Until it's too late. And by the way, it's never too late. But the sooner you're using that information for decision-making purposes, the sooner your business will actually, not just survive, but really thrive. Implement a CRM system. Okay, so I've done this one to death probably, but it is all about data-driven decisions. The information is there. Leverage the sales automation tools. Why not? Save time, reduce the manual workload. Help your salespeople spend more time talking to clients. Design and optimize sales funnels. We've talked through this earlier about the customer journey. More we understand about the routes that customers take to find you, to work with you, to go through your system, the quicker you'll convert those leads into sales, and sales into money and profits, and shorten the sales cycle, grow the business, just get more. Utilize data analytics again. Lots of companies track traffic and things like that on their website. Lots of them outsource it to an agency, and they leave it to the agency to kind of tune the PPC or whatever they do with SEO. Okay, but in fact, that information is revealing what your potential customers are looking for. And the question is are you monitoring it really? Because there are sales opportunities in all of that. And, if you're really in touch with your business and you're seeing sales opportunities come through, you would turn those sales opportunities into products and services that you would sell. You'd start actually saying, well, we should have a page for that because we've got a product for that. This is the other thing, missed opportunity, where I come across companies that do in fact deliver the things that people are looking for. It's just there's a disconnect between what happens out there on the web and what happens in here in the business. So face-to-face, if you get people to that point, then you can make the sale. But online, at the front face of the automation tools, there is no indication that you actually do what you do, right? There's a broken link. So data analytics can help fix those links. Tells you what customers are looking for. You already know what you sell. Why aren't you getting those as leads? Why aren't they coming across? Establish a feedback loop. It's all related. Yes, you need to create mechanisms for collecting feedback, but you also need to look at them. I know, broken record. Focus on customer experience. Yay. When you do this and you aim to delight and you aim to make the experience pleasurable and you put in happy coincidences, delightful events, things that are favorable to you and to them, okay, you get higher prices, right? You get more sales, you get increased satisfaction, you get increased loyalty. You can even, introduce new service levels, red rope treatment, velvet rope treatment, however you want to call it. Exclusive VIP lane, that kind of thing. This is customer experience. Okay, there's the link for the live resources, the workshops, and the other information that I share. You can scan that as a QR code on your mobile phone. It'll take you through to that page. When you get there, pop in your email address, register, and you'll be sent a link with this month's resources, or this session's resources if you're within the week. And if you're not, then you can still book a call with me, completely free. And there's a link to the Patreon account, and you can go download some of the resources there, or you can sign up and get access to all of the resources for all of the weeks so far in this program. And at the end of it, I'm doing 4 of these a month. So I'm expecting there's going to be best part of, let's say 52, right? I mean, I have mapped out 52 of these videos. And these are the high-level ones. So I'm going to go deeper, given the chance. Okay, mistakes. Yeah, I made a few. I don't pretend to be perfect. But, we learn from mistakes. This is the Elon Musk kind of attitude. It's like, push it till it breaks. This is not necessarily a problem to make a mistake. Sometimes a mistake is actually just to push too far. It's okay. When we push too far, we push back, right? We bring it back a bit. We fix it. We move on. We change the plan. We improve. The biggest mistake most people do, and again, I found myself in this situation, is not understanding certain customer needs. If we roll out the same presentation to everybody, as sometimes we do, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to understand, or we don't somehow listen necessarily to customer needs. And when we don't relate to those customer needs, I mean, we may hear it, but we don't necessarily relate or respond accordingly. And some people are classic for this. So everyone is, yeah, that's interesting, but here's a solution. And it's always the same solution. And you can get away with that in most cases, to be honest. But ultimately, if that customer starts shopping around, one of the reasons they would shop around is because they just feel like they're not being satisfied, they're not being listened to. So they will go somewhere else, and they'll keep looking until they find someone where they go, that's for me. So not understanding customer needs means you're avoiding the situation where the customer says, that's for me. Well, we want customers to say, that's for me. So we really do want to not only listen, but we want to react and deliver a custom solution. I love custom solutions when we understand customer needs. Because when we really listen to customer needs and we deliver a custom solution, then we are totally nailing it. And we leave the customer in a position where often there's nowhere else for them to go, because no one else would have customized the way I would have customized for that customer. And you can say, well, it's impossible. We only sell, whatever we sell, it's a commodity. Honestly, there's so many different ways that you can customize even commodities. sure enough, at the heart of what you sell may well be a commodity, like tires, for instance, but it's the way that you supply them, the way you deliver them, the way that you service them, the way you even select them. It's your pricing plans. There's so much that you can change and alter and make yours that your competitors just don't bother with. Mistake number 2, ineffective sales pitches. It's very similar. Too generic, or fail to address, when you fail to address the specific needs of the prospect, it can actually be upsetting. Customers can like, what the hell? I just spent time with you telling you what the issue is, and now you've ignored me. Very similar, 1 and 2. Mistake number 3, poor process management. So you've nailed it. You've got the sale, but for some reason or another, the process of delivery just like falls over. Okay, it's inconsistent, difficult members of staff. Communication is poor. Front end completely removed from the back end. It just needs to be fixed. You know when it's happening. Mistake number 4, which is probably the biggest mistake that I'm always talking about, neglecting performance metrics. I probably don't really need to go on about this, but so much data is collected in so many different ways, and so much of it is ignored. I see it again and again and again. It's not obviously ignored. Someone's tracking it, someone's reading it. Someone's even producing reports. Someone's filing those reports. Someone's distributing those reports. They're all going out. But at the end of the day, no one's acting on those reports. This is the final hurdle, and it's often the final piece that doesn't actually occur. And without that piece, everyone else is kind of becomes fairly disillusioned. It's like, well, this has been pointed out for the last 2 years. You've known this. It's been in all the reports, and you have chosen never to act. And so, yes, it's no surprise it's still going on. Weak brand presence. This is also quite a classic, sadly. This happens with companies that have great products, and they're really so focused on the product, they're, selling is kind of beneath them, right? No one is there to sell. Everyone is there to deliver. And I mean, it's very laudable. You do need to have a fantastic product. But ultimately, if you're not shipping that fantastic product, then you're going to run out of money. You're just going to have no customers. And this, unfortunately, happens to a lot of businesses. So, real problem. Easily solved. Today's reading list for you. Now, the first one by Chet Holmes has sadly passed away. I had quite a conversation with him. I met him a few times. I think I flew somewhere to see him especially, or he flew to see me. I can't remember which way it was. But his book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, is just records how he dominated. He grew his business from nothing and went around dominating, helping other businesses dominate in their markets. And then he shared the program in this book. It's really insightful, very straightforward, easy for most people to follow and implement. So he developed an entire program around it, and I think his daughter has continued to push it and promote it. To Sell is Human is the other good book here. He is he's written quite a few insightful books, packed full of stats, interesting information, very motivational, full of tons of ideas that you can add to your business. Daniel Pink there. And then there's a couple of classics. Spin Selling by Neil Rackman. It's a step-by-step approach. And similarly they're not the same, but another step-by-step approach, the Challenger's Sale, is an actual process. And you could argue the Ultimate Sales Machine is an actual process as well. I have a certain affinity with Chet Holmes. So I'm completely biased. All right. Thanks for joining me. There's that link for the resources if you haven't got it already. And next week, I'm going to be talking through Network Navigator and applying the 5 Ps to content marketing. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you again. Don't forget to visit bit.ly, bit.ly live resources, Scan that QR code, that'll also get you there. Register. You'll get the workshops relevant to whichever week you sign up to that. And you can book an appointment with me, and you can jump across and join the Patreon group for all of the historic resources all in one place as well. And you can leave comments and messages for me if you've got any thoughts or topics that you'd like me to cover. All right? See you next time. Bye for now.